You are listening to the Unreasonable Fridays Podcast Network.
What's cracking, people? Y'all ready? Let's go. This beat make me feel like a cunt. This make me feel like a cunt. This make me feel like a cunt. Cunt.
Good evening, fellow sexual subjects. You are listening to a broadcast of the CuntCast podcast, a conversation with a classically characterized cunt, carefully crafted with cognizant courage to champion conscientious consummation. I am your host, Nijay Lavree, aka Blasian Bitch, if with a Y. You want to follow me on the socials. And I am joined with my favorite human being, Mr. Aaron Rand Freeman. Hello.
Howdy. I am here. And ready to go, ready to do work, to talk about the various things, because we do talk about everything. I was listening back and we go through all the topics, and I really appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. So we're eclectic here. We are.
That's the nicest way anybody has described my ADHD brain.
I think
it's not broken, it's eclectic.
I think it's important that you bounce around from topic to topic. We're not a news podcast. Like some podcasts are journalism, like hardcore journalism, and in which case you need to stay on brand.
Yeah.
This
podcast, CBS.
Yeah, we're
not.
Right, we're not. We're trying to. This is a conversation, so we are here to put people at ease a little bit. We're not here for the. If hardcore journalism, then yes, we'd have to stay on brand. But yeah. we're trying to just let people vibe a little bit during the end times.
We're here making dick jokes for the end of civilization because there's not much else we can do.
I kind of want to put that as a tagline though. Like if someone were to ask, like, "What's your podcast about, Mr. Freeman?" Quickly, it's a podcast about dick jokes at the end of civilization.
Yeah. Like, we're the part in the dystopian novel where, like, they show you, like, everybody's doing their regular hustle and bustle, but little do they know what's looming. It's like, no, they know. They know.
No.
They're still doing their dick jokes, though, because what the heck else can you do? Ow. My spine. So, what have you been up to since our last very productive conversation?
I mean, it would be a total aside of being inundated by games I didn't know existed 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
The only game I wanted this fall, this is the time of year when all the games come out. The only game I wanted offhand was Tales of Arise. I pre-ordered that moons ago. And then my Xbox husband, with his love of guns and war, will get Battlefield, which is another intriguing game. Other than that, there's nothing I particularly want. But then they announced about 2 weeks ago that Alan Wake is getting a remaster. And then they suddenly announced yesterday at the Nintendo Direct that there's a Castlevania Advance Collection with those 3 sequels to Symphony of the Night that never came out anywhere but on Nintendo Portable Console. So, yeah. I've just been playing things, and then I don't know how familiar you are with Cruis'n USA, those old arcade games.
I was more of a Daytona person, but I have played a lot of Cruis'n USA in the arcade that was in the roller rink of my childhood.
Really?
Which is now a Sears.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get into how much enjoyable recreation has been lost to businesses. Like, one of the saddest things about New York before I left was that arcades were not sustainable financially, pretty much anywhere. First it was like in Manhattan, because Manhattan had a lot of arcades when I was growing up, and then
But now
eventually
I'm like, where are people getting fingered in 8th grade now if there are no arcades left? Where do you
uh,
go, youngsters?
well, I
To
mean,
embarrassingly explore.
um, uh, train stations, but that was where I lived in New York.
Because
I
I
lived.
used to think theaters, but now, they put all the bells and whistles in theaters.
What?
Like the
What?
seats are jiggering around.
No, that's just your theater. You can still go to a classic theater with just regular seats if you want. It's just nobody wants to go to them anymore.
I
People.
went to the theater for the first time since the pandemic,
No.
um, and it was horrifying. Just the worst. Not just because, I went with my dad, who is a cancer survivor, and then me, 2 years post coma with very little lung capacity left. So we're like prime COVID would kill us
Really,
candidates.
really white knuckling that trip to the movies. White
Yeah.
knuckling
So like we're not comfortable no matter what we're doing. Like we're both smiling, like, yeah, we're at the movies. Yeah. But I know in both of our heads we're like, oh, is this how we're gonna die? Really? For this movie? God damn.
it.
But like, because we're wiping everything down. We bought snacks. We both don't want to like open them because we want to take a mask off. There's some bitch behind us coughing. She didn't even have a mask on because I live in North Carolina. It,
Ooh, ooh,
yeah.
shit.
And
They didn't space y'all. They didn't space y'all folks out.
well, here's the thing. It was assigned seating. So you could space yourself out. So this dipshit decided, let me sit right behind somebody.
Bro,
When
that
I
should.
got the tickets, we were the only people in the theater. So I put a smack dab in like the perfect center of the screens. We had great seats. And I got the 4DX experience. So the theater was empty because it's terrible. But apparently, other people also had my same idea uh, to be tortured through a movie just so you don't have to sit next to other people. And then, like, in every other row, there was at least 3 empty rows between people. But this one old white couple decided, nope, we need to be near people. So let's sit directly behind these 2 people.
That's
They had to
interesting.
pick those seats.
Right, that's interesting because in the Alamo here in Austin, when you get a seat, it blocks out a bunch of seats around you. So like your seat has a blast radius. So once
Yeah.
you get the seat, there's a block of seats all around you that are no longer available.
As they should. Good on them.
Right.
Good on them.
And then you have to sit there, and if you're not sitting there, they jam you up real hard. Like they're real friendly, but you gotta go where you bought your ticket. You know what I mean? You gotta
There
go
were
there.
no like ushers really. So there was nobody to enforce the seating rule, but like I am hardcore. I will enforce that seating rule because like it's kind of like I feel like when I have an assigned seat, it's like Dynasty's Warrior. I have like the writ of God. Like you cannot argue against these printed numbers on my ticket. It gives me full authority to eject you from your chosen seat if you didn't actually choose it the way I did. I will Karen it the fuck up when it comes to assigned seating. Like, don't try me.
It's real though.
Yeah.
It's assigned seating. It's real. Sit in your fucking seat. Sit in the
Shit gets
seat.
real. Like I chose a seat for a reason. You're gonna get your ass out of it. But luckily for me, there was no I didn't have to get antsy because we got there super early. Because I never know how roads work. I'm used to like I could like gauge in Jersey or New York or depending on the borough like how long it actually takes to get somewhere
Right.
because miles don't matter. Like it's how the layout is. Do not understand how North Carolina works because something will be like 6 miles away and it takes like half an hour to get there, and then something else is 6 miles away and you're there in like 2 minutes. It makes no sense. So we got there super early. Uh, we got some treats, and then we were like, oh, we don't want to take off our masks. And I got a frozen treat, so I ended up just drinking it once the movie was done because I didn't open it during the movie. My dad got some Raisinets. We're very fun people. Uh, but the 4DX experience, I went to only one other 4DX movie, and this was years and years ago. I saw Age of Ultron in 4DX, and it was like the big cushy leather seats. So it was like a recliner. It just like rumbled a little bit.
Right.
I did have a seizure every time the movie went from 2D to 3D. So I'm very glad it was just all 3D. So I didn't, break my brain. But now 4DX, it's, I don't know if you ever went to Six Flags and they have those roller coasters where it's just a room and a big screen and the seat just does gymnastics.
Yes.
That's what the 4DX is now. Like by the end of the movie, like my tit was half out of my bra. I had motion sickness. I thought I was gonna die. My spine was an accordion. I kind of wish I had seatbelts. That is how violent I was. I felt like a innocent child who was just a little too cranky, and my parents unfortunately hired a Russian nanny in the 90s, just shaking.
Oh my God.
The horrible, and not just shaking. It sprays water at you. There's smoke that comes up in the theater to make you just feel like maybe there's a fire. And they have flashing lights in your peripheral, So you definitely have a seizure. Though I didn't have one, shockingly enough. I don't know what sick, mad scientist that hates joy in filmmaking designed this monstrosity. But that is how I experienced movies for the first time since the pandemic started. And I gotta say, as much as I was just terrified the entire time, I kind of liked the movie, even though it starred two people whose faces vex my spirit, which I have to say probably means it's a pretty good movie.
Mm-hmm. I was amazed that you thought it would be pretty good. Once I heard that, then yeah, your issues with Simu Liu and Aquafina. What's her name?
Nora Lum.
Nora. What's her name?
Nora Lum.
Okay, I'm gonna start calling her Nora. I can't with this. Like, I didn't like that name. I don't like that name.
Because she's just making fun of black people. Yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to get in that discussion, but yeah, that's Nora Lum. There we go. It is done, and
but of course, I also would let Tony Leung and Michelle Yeoh spit in my mouth, so they are also in the movie.
I mean, they did offshoot it. They did offset it with some of our favorite Asian actors. My favorite just for the last literally 25 years of our lives. Yeah. Raised us. Some of those actors have raised us. So yes, it's I'm here for that.
So my dad loves a good kung fu, action, karate, martial arts film, and they don't make enough of them. So I figured I would take him. So he had a daddy-daughter day, which is kind of weird because I'm almost 40, but we made a day of it. Though I found I am turning into my father because we were like, oh, should we buy popcorn? I was like, we have popcorn at home, which is like just the daddiest thing you could say. Well, not the daddiest, but the cranky boomerist thing. That's exactly how I felt. But anyway, to bring that home, it would be impossible to try to finger somebody in one of those seats. They have barriers up, so you can't get any under the tush action. And also, you would break your finger or their cooter trying to finger them with the violence that's happening to those scenes. The
Hey,
4DX experience should be banned, is what I'm saying.
you used to
What?
jerk around and flip somebody over the
No.
back of the seat by their vagina by mistake.
Yeah, because it's not like it rumbles. It doesn't like. There's no foreplay. Like if stuff starts going down on screen, you're just flying around in your seat. It is so unpleasant. So
Noted. Good movie, bad experience. And don't stack up with people in the theater, even though anyone listening knows better. It's all white folks. They don't know any better. But anybody else.
well, the thing is, like, you can't control other people. So, like, if you release your movie theater only, I'm just not gonna see it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not. The only in theaters is like, I always respond by internal booing every time I see only in theaters.
Yeah, like it would have to be something like so special that, and not even Dune. I was like, I got a pretty okay TV at home. I'm gonna turn off the lights. It just, I'll be fine. I can enjoy Dune. So I don't need a IMAX experience. There, all the just theater movies that I was planning to see, either they have somebody super problematic in them, so I won't be seeing them anymore, or I just don't think it's going to be worth going to the theater.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah. So like Dear Evan Hansen, I'm watching the bootleg on YouTube, which is going to be better because all the songs are in it.
Are we gonna have to watch Dear Evan Hansen? You turned me. I saw the trailer and didn't quite understand what was happening, and then you referred me to the trailer again with all the context of someone who enjoyed the musical, and now I need to see it, and we will have to talk about
Yeah,
it on the
Dear
show.
Evan Hansen is my Panic at the Disco of musical theater because because I know I shouldn't like it, but I do so bad. It is the most miserable musical, and it knows, and I love it. It is so nihilistic. It is, it's like if you took a feels bad meme but like gave it a really juicy pop ballad soundtrack. It is the most 2015 musical ever to musical. And I'm not going to say, a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's about like being seen and it's a celebration of the human spirit." No, it's fucking not. If you got that reading, you did not get the point of that musical. Uh, it is a cynical reading of our culture and how easy it is to manipulate people. It is about clout chasing.
Do you want to give people a synopsis, or
You know,
you
I'm
just
just going to say that Dear Evan Hansen is not a musical about a shy gay boy being bullied, which is apparently what most people think it's about. No,
oh
not even close. It's it's about an awful human being using his mental illness to abuse and manipulate those around him.
huh
It's a lot. Yeah. It could easily be a horror movie, like a good psychological horror movie.
huh
Yeah.
oh well, that's terrible. Okay,
Yeah.
noted.
And I fucking love it.
Oh, there you go. Dear Evan Hansen. There you go, folks. Go check it out
It is
because
delicious trash.
it's just exquisite trash, which is what you
Yeah.
need here.
Warm and juicy. Yeah. Uh, which I can enjoy fictional clout chasing, rabid fandom, real life clout chasing random fandom scares the shit out of me. Yeah. Have you been watching uh, Nicki Minaj torpedo her career over her rapist husband?
I thought she did that over her rapist brother years ago.
You would think, or it could be defending and hanging out with Drake, who is best friends with a 13-year-old girl who was dating a 16-year-old model, or making a sexually suggestive music video with a guy who is also domestic abusing sexual predator. There seems to be a pattern with Onika and Sex Pest, and um, apparently you weren't allowed to talk about it because she had a virtual army.
Well, I mean, those are now her fans forever. And I guess she just has to cater to the people that will pay her, and there are enough people that will pay her rent that she just has to keep doing her.
I just I wish I could understand what makes a person say this individual raps so good. I will try to send death threats to a rape victim. Because I have never heard bars so elite, I would do some crime for them.
Uh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm just confused about the subset of barbs that are Trinidadian who are just spreading what they know are falsehoods about their own country
Really?
to support the lies of Nicki Minaj.
Like what? Really?
Yeah, like saying, oh, well, Trinidad doesn't have access to Instagram, so you can't be mad if she says something stupid on Instagram and Twitter because Trinidadians don't have access. Like, yeah, they do. Yeah, they fucking do. Like,
That
shut up.
that doesn't sound right.
Or saying that there's all kinds of vaccine mandates, so the job market is bleak. And it's like, um, other than like healthcare workers, no, there aren't vaccine mandates. Also weird to me that like people are like, hey, she wasn't spreading like vaccine hesitancy. She's just asking questions. But the question was, I'm going to hesitate to get the vaccine because I don't know what's in it, which is a definition of vaccine hesitancy. Yeah. Um, there's nothing quite like watching one of the countries that you're from trend because somebody just said the dumbest shit. That's easily disprovable. Just sounds like a blatant lie. Uh, and seeing other people kind of assume that, oh, I guess it's kind of true because what do they got in Trinidad? Like dirt and huts? I don't know. Which you'd be surprised at how many people think that's how we live. We have houses, just like everybody else. It's fine. But what makes me like itch is when I wonder, did these people flock to being a bar because they were just so in love with Nicki Minaj, or is it feeling like being a part of something, which is why they do it because it makes them feel like kind of powerful, kind of like um, early Anonymous or late stage Beehive. They all seem to be people that feel great being in a powerful collective, but they don't use that power for any good. It's kind of like the K-pop stand that will bully people into suicide.
I think Nicki Minaj has been a heel the whole time. So I can only applaud her consistency. I mean, she's been pretty toxic. I mean, we saw how she treated the presence of literally any other female rapper, any of them, any, and it's just been kind of escalating as her platform is getting wider and the stakes get higher.
Yeah. And like I have like I wouldn't say supported Nicki Minaj, but like when messed up things happen to her, I kind of put it aside to say, "Oh, but it was still wrong." Um and I kind of wish that goodwill was reciprocated in any way, shape, or form with how she treated other people, because it just seems uh, like maybe she gets off on it, having her own private army.
I mean, she has all the tools to octuple down on whatever the fuck she's thinking at any given moment for any reason at all. So, yeah. I mean, she is empowered to do this. She has been, for the most part, unchecked for a long time. Not without critique, but her fans are her fans.
Her
And she
fans are
has,
a bit unhinged of some, not all of them,
right,
obviously.
but they are legion and they are paying. So there is absolutely no reason to not cater to them, as they
Yeah.
will let you say what you want and pay your bills.
And I mean, personally, I was annoyed by Nikki's ball tweet because, like, I have family that is still in Trinidad and Tobago, and like my cousin who had a young son got COVID and she died. So Nikki could say some dumb shit about what her cousin's friend's brother's uncle did in Trinidad, but like there are actual Trinidadians who are no longer here. You get to live in your mansion and hug your kid that you had with a rapist. My cousin will never get to hug her son
Yeah.
ever. He's not going to have a mom because of COVID. Because fucking morons like Nicki Minaj who just, and not even, I don't even think, honestly, that Nicki Minaj gives a shit about COVID
Uh,
because she's going to go on tour. So she's probably going to go get vaccinated. She's even said so much. So it was really just, I need to distract from the fact that I'm not doing a lot of these high profile performances that people were expecting me to, and to not draw attention to the civil court case that her husband's victim has against her and her husband, and the fact that her husband is facing 10 years in jail for failing to register as a sex offender, which he is.
hmm.
So she
So,
basically used uh, uh, words that will make people less likely to get life-saving vaccines to to just as a little deflection of her personal problems that she very much could have easily avoided by not marrying a rapist.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
And it's so annoying trying to voice your frustration because you're going to have her like sycophants yelling at you. I had somebody go, "Oh, but like you're trying to look like Nicki Minaj," because like my Twitter profile picture, I have like a long weave with bangs, and apparently they just think my face. I'm trying to look Nicki Minaj. Like, no, this is my fucking face. That's just what I look like. We just happen to have kind of a similar ethnic makeup. So Nicki doesn't have a monopoly on what Trinidadian people fucking look like. But apparently, that's only for the barbs. I can't like hot pink, even though it's very common. That's also clearly just for the barbs. You can't be Blasian and not like Nicki Minaj because apparently she has claimed that for the barbs, the ethnic makeup. Yep, off her. It's scary and counterproductive, and I'm seeing more and more uh, Western uh, celebrities trying to get their own little armies of fans. And I thought, like, I see a lot of news outlets admonish the K-pop and Asian super fans of certain celebrities and pop stars. But that same smoke is not reserved when it's a Western act, even though I would argue there's no difference between the two. If you're going to be sending threats to somebody because the person who sings real good or raps real good, in your opinion, like doesn't like that person, that's unhinged. And no matter where in the world that happens, it's equally bad. Though I think it was so weird to see that type of fandom become racialized as Asian mob fans bad, but like, oh, the beehive, super cute. Like, is that just me? Am I just sensitive?
I mean, honestly, I think it is all problematic like you do. Um, there is something to be said for where your armies are wielded and what you're doing with them. Because you're going
And
to, because if you carry, so if you help people emotionally, if you can carry people emotionally from one point to the other, then you're going to have loyal fans for that reason. What you do with it,
until they turn on you for knocking up Olivia Munn.
well, that's the deal. John Mulaney, when your audience is, he is a white male comedian with a white lady audience, that wasn't going to work out. He was going to do something today, tomorrow, yesterday, decade from now. That's a volatile pairing of celebrity and fandom. So he could have done anything. As long as if he had left his wife at all, if he had knocked up anyone, like it would have been a thing one way or the other. So that I'm not trying to let Mulaney off the hook, but I'm just saying that's
He didn't really do anything. He just
I
was a
mean,
man living his life.
I mean, I'm not. Listen, I don't get it, but it was a volatile pairing. So yes.
Like,
I don't know if Nicki Minaj's audience will turn on her.
I don't think they will at this point.
I don't think I feel like that's the thing. It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like she has the right audience for the right artist. We have the right audience for the right artist right now.
Like,
I think everyone
I
who,
can't
what is it?
think of what she could possibly do. If they're down for threatening a survivor of rape, what won't they support? Like, it's evil. They're just like, yes, queen, be despicable.
Yes. Like I said, the appeal that Donald Trump has in allowing you to embrace your worst impulses, while he doesn't speak to black folks, at least not most black folks, the vast majority of black folks he doesn't speak to. There is still a place for the toxic black person to speak to toxic black people. And yeah. I'll say this: all humans want to be let off the hook. Then I say all. It seems as though a vast majority of humans want to be let off the hook of critical thinking. Something about it, it's too stressful. They don't want to be wrong. They're very tired. Lots of moving parts. Totally understand. But it seems as though a lot of humans want to be let off the hook of critical thinking. And if you're a celebrity that can find the right combination of popularity and audience and toxicity, then yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bec- yeah,
it,
they're good. It's good. We're fine. It's great.
I just
Phenomenal.
I feel like we're losing ever so slowly critical thinking skills,
Oh, they're shot. Yeah.
and also people. Uh, it's seen as a moral failing to like something flawed instead of just how life is. So if you're part of the beehive and somebody says, "Oh, Beyonce makes great music, but I really can't get behind her brand of black capitalism because I'm an anti-capitalist," suddenly all her fans hear is, "You hate Beyonce and you're a bad person because I like Beyonce and I'm a good person." And that's dangerous. I mean, great for marketing and getting people to buy things, but so horrible for society that is based on free thinking.
um, um, we're
It's not even like I think people should kill their darlings, but like be able to critique them. I think that's fair. That's a fair ask.
y-
Like, uh,
you
you would
know,
think the first collaboration with a rapist, people would have go, "Hey, maybe I should, unhinge my sail from the SS Minaj because she's doing some shady shit."
I think the idea of understanding what goes into what we consume is still relatively new. Like there's like an organic development, and I think we're in the irrational teenage phase of
Well, not really,
understanding.
because like Marsha McLuhan was talking about this in like the 20s. Uh,
I'm talking
I
about socially, like massively acceptable. I'm certain that there are people who gave these things, like, there's a difference between critical thought and just straight up idle culture. If that makes sense,
That's true.
like,
Yeah, that's
accepting the
true.
fact that, like, you hear that, like, a cigarette company will tell you that smoking cigarettes is good for you, for example. Um, that's bad. But someone noticing that that is a trend and accepting that that is a trend is still, it was like a thought exercise for educated people, thoughtful people. Now in culture, it's understood that bullshit is happening around you and you are being manipulated to the point where we don't even know where we're being manipulated from. And we're just like, the vaccine is a government plot. You know what I mean? Like, it's culture now, for better or worse. It's culture, you know?
Yeah,
And
and
yeah.
I I kind of I try not to be like down on people except for when they're doing like just obvious like just inexcusable acts of cruelty on behalf of their fandoms. But you see it in uh even when it's not attached to a celebrity, you have like the pro shipper, anti shipper war. I don't know if like the fandom wars,
Right.
if you ever heard of them, where people are basically like, if you like X, Y, and Z, you are clearly a pedophile, and I have to hate you because it is morally right. Like, uh, instead of seeing any type of complexity, it boils down to its most like sensational and or like enraging thing for whatever is like the opposite side. So people want to feel like they have the moral authority to hate and unleash all of their
I mean,
uh, you know,
I think
worst inhibitions.
that is like the new, like I said, the new artillery in fandom wars, is as opposed to something being good or being bad, or, you know, something being um of someone being a man or a woman or someone being black or being white. It's just now there is the moral failing is that you as a person are terrible
Yeah.
because of this thing that you like. And that is, like I said, there's like a naturally developing organic conversations that we're sort of trying to process. And it's part of the growth process, and it's really ugly. Like anything growing, it's got some really ugly corners.
Yeah, like,
And
I miss when you could just not fuck with something, and that was fine. Like, you didn't have to have a dissertation on why you think it's okay for you not to like the thing.
um,
Like, maybe you just don't like it. It's
I,
okay to not like the things.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think it's a good thing because we don't know enough about why we like anything as like people, humans don't know enough about why they like a thing that they like anyway. So, I mean, would I prefer us engaging politically, reading science, and learning about ourselves, engaging in healing practices? Yes. Do I feel like it's
Yeah.
wasted on Nicki Minaj and her rapist husband? Abso-fucking-lutely. But sometimes your kid is not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and if they're drawing on the wall, then they're drawing, and
Yeah, I would be
it's just
heartbroken if I raised something, it grew inside of me, and like 24 years later, it turned out to be a barb.
yeah. I hear you. It sucks, but this is humans grow ugly. Like that's the thing. Like we like as something that rips open our parents, that rips open who are those who give birth to us, and in a lot of cases we try our damnedest to kill them, and we kind of set the tone. Humans grow in a really ugly and grotesque fashion. The way we learn is generally unwieldy and grotesque.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
our conversations, civil discourse, it's all just very ugly. Like we are not going to get to critical thinking without some mob rule, if that makes sense. We're just not gonna get there without some terrible mob behavior from those who should know better about things that don't actually matter but are still exercises in critical thinking. And I kind of hate it. And that is why
yeah.
I'm ready to retire at 38. I'm 38, yes. And I'm ready to retire for that reason. That reason, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I I was very much done with fandom when like it became who you are instead of something you like. Like I'm a gamer. It's like, no, you're just a person who plays video games. Like, can you imagine? Be like, I'm a TV watcher. Like, that's just who I am. I have very deep thoughts about how I met your mother. And if you don't like how I met your mother, I'm going to send you rape threats. Like, that's how dumb Gamergate was. Like, the fact. It, and it made me like feel disgusted to have ever worked in corporate marketing because it's our fault. Like, corporate marketing definitely I feel they were like, hey, what can we learn from cults and religious zealotry so we could make somebody that extra dollar? It's a little bit evil.
Hmm.
Quite ashamed to have participated in it, though I guess it's not so bad because I was doing like engineering and stuff. Of course, most of the projects that I worked on did not really work, seeing how New York City just flooded post Sandy. So, yes, maybe it was a different type of evil, but mundane evil is just, you know, life. But it's so weird to see how some marketer decided it would make somebody more money to put the video games in the boy aisle rather than a gender neutral aisle or the girls aisle, and like that little seed tumble 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 now you have men's rights activists, Gamergate, and the alt-right. It it's I want to say who could have known, but then like when you draw the dots, I'm like, yeah, yeah, somebody should have saw that coming.
I think, well, I say this all the time on this show, is that humans don't do time well, and we do not plan for longer than our own prime. Like, we don't, like, if humans planned from the beginning of their end of their existence, like if humans made plans over 75 year spans, it would be fine. Humans plan for the end of however long their prime can possibly exist. And because, actually, it's funny, because so many of us are we're all caught in the gig economy tornado, our actual futures are getting shorter. Like, you get a job and you know you will not be there for longer than 3 years. You know what I mean? You get a job and you're immediately looking for a job, and you immediately you're always moving and shaking. So what we understand gets shorter and shorter. And I see it. And it's kind of why you think that somebody would be able to guess that in a decade, gendering video games would spiral out of control, as anything gendered at this point has spiraled out of control. Gendering things male specifically have spiraled out of control. But again, humans seem to be really bad with time. I think the best humans can think about 15, 20 years ahead, but guessing what's going to happen after about 20 years, there's a very small percentage of us that are good at that.
Yeah. I mean, I notice, just being the old bitch that I am, like when I think of things and I was like, oh, that was not that long ago. And then I go, oh no, that was like 20 years ago.
Right.
Because I was trying to explain MySpace to somebody who, wasn't really old enough to ever been on it.
Right.
They're like 20 something, like 21 or 22. And I was like, you were on MySpace? Like, you should. And I was like, oh, yeah, they were like 5. So, yeah, they wouldn't have been on it. But it feels like it was like 2, like maybe 9 years ago tops. I just think just to make just being a human workable, we just can't fathom how time really works. Because it would just make us infinitely sad.
We do not handle our mortality well, to such a degree that I think our understanding bends around our refusal to accept the fact that we are not here for long.
Yeah.
And our reactions reflect it, and we go forward under the assumption that we're just gonna have to. We don't have long, but we do not want to acknowledge that it's not a thing that we talk about.
Yeah, because I could clearly remember when I was like 7th or 8th grader, and like everybody was crazy about like the 80s,
Yes.
or like the 70s, 80s, and my mom was like, yeah, everything that I liked is cool. And I was like, oh God, you were so lame and embarrassing. Now, with the roaring 20s and the emo revival, I'm like, oh my God, I was completely right. Everything I liked was in fact cool, but it's just me being an old fuddy-duddy. And realizing that just hit me like somebody had punched me in my stomach, because I was like, oh no, I am now the old.
I think the only problem with that is if you think the culture around us has no value, because that's what makes our parents so especially irritating, is that they go, what I like is cool, but the rest of the sentence is, what you like has no value at all. And that becomes a problem right there, when you're like, oh, but what you like has no value. That's real bad. But just thinking what you like is cool.
Yeah, though what I do find very funny is, when I think about like emo, pop punk, and that kind of alternate rock, it is so specific to like the years that it was hot. But then when I think about other genres I grew up with, they feel timeless to me. Like, I still listen to like soca and calypso and reggae and dub, like all that kind of stuff all just it never feels old to me. And I think that's because I grew up in a household where my parents also listened to that music, even though I might have listened to newer artists doing their own version of it. Like it was still that type of music. So it wasn't so much, I didn't get as many messages of this music has no value.
Right.
But with the, the emo stuff, my parents are definitely like, what is this garbage?
Right. This has no value.
Yeah.
And it's like that is the
So it has become dated with my youthful rebellion and angst, even though I was in college. I was a freshman in college in 2005, so I wasn't that youthful during email, but
yeah, you were. Hey, baby. 18-year-olds are babies. What?
I took several gap years because I was stripping, remember? So I was a little older in
How old were
college.
you?
I want to say I was 20.
Oh, that's still a baby.
As a freshman?
No, it's not. That's nowhere near an adult. that you can do the things for the government that the government needs you to do, but you're nowhere near an adult. Not even close. Like the functional adult with the tools to understand how to properly govern yourself in not only a world but a changing world. You're 20, no chance. You're still a baby.
Yeah. I thought I was very grown.
Everyone, listen, man, listen. 20-year-olds cooking. 20-year-olds. If you gave 20-year-olds a survey, they are all cooking, boy. They got it. That's what makes them babies. Babies also think they got it. You ask a 3-year-old, he's like, "It's all good. I'm gonna have my cake for breakfast. I figured it out, y'all. Listen, as a 3-year-old, if it could have a PowerPoint presentation, it would have a PowerPoint presentation of the glories of cake for breakfast and think that shit is fine and get rave reviews from other 3-year-olds. It would be like, my God, that was informative. That was transformative. My life, I'm going to show this to my mother and I think things might change. Thank you for your bravery. 3-year-olds would write on fucking Yelp under YouTube comments. Everybody thinks they've got it. And until you realize you don't, you're a baby. Sorry. Once you realize you ain't got it, you're good. You're on the path. You see it.
Yeah, I think that's why like 20s is like the time everybody should have kids, because that's when you're bold enough to think that like you have a handle on things and you don't. Because I think by the time like I feel in my mid 30s, like I can't be responsible for life. I can barely keep my shit together. Don't give me a fucking baby. Like, what? But I think if I was like 10 years younger, I'd be like, of course I'm going to be the world's best parent because I know everything in fact. Now let me tell you all of my political opinions. Yeah, like that. I feel like that's like an age where it's so easy to. It's like the good cult age too. And I think that's why that's like everybody says these fandom people are all teenagers, but they're not. They're way older than that because they have disposable income. So they're working. Like they're usually in like the 20s, sometimes early 30s.
Right. The critical thinking discussion, it happens and people respond to it differently at all ages. So it's like they're not all teenagers now. They're being forced to critically think about a thing they like, and that's where a lot of stuff goes down. So we'll just say a lot of shit goes down when you have to do that.
Wrong.
Yeah, so yeah.
I just want to go back to 2007 where somebody would send you a DM on MySpace and then you'd fuck them and life is simple. The orgasms were plentiful and the repercussions were few. Why can't we go back to that?
I'm not gonna lie to you. If we could sort out this pandemic thing and maybe do something about this capitalism thing, we would have we would be living in better times. Like we're almost there. Like,
Capitalism does make my pussy dry.
right. We're almost in a spot where we're better than we've been. I always think about the safety that certain people are allowed to feel that they would never have been able to feel at any other time but now. Like, imagine if you just have, in a lot of cases, absolutely no outlet whatsoever. Nowhere to go. No one on the internet. No one on TV. Even if there's a fuss. Imagine how many, I always think about the people who 10, 12 years ago were completely isolated by who they are as 100% isolated. And are still many people like that. But there are places, and there are places to go that exist now that never existed. And so many other people get to feel some type of joy that they would have had no access to. And now, granted, there are people actively trying to remove the option for their joy. Like, there are lots of forces at play that would prefer that person to feel nothing but misery until they die.
Yes.
But we're almost there. Like, I think about those people often. It's one of the reasons why I never want to go backwards in time, because there are people that get to live now, even if they get to struggle, they get to kind of get some ladder of freedom. And it's, we can do this. We can do this. We will be old, but we can do this. We will be 70 years old,
God.
but we can do this.
Our nursing homes, if they exist and
They
just
haven't,
aren't,
no.
made into paste to feed the masses, they're going to be jumping.
Oh yeah.
First of all, music, going to be amazing. There's hopefully post-COVID vaccine, they're going to find so many medical breakthroughs so we could like bump uglies and not care about AIDS or other STIs. It's going to be great. And I'm pretty sure everybody's going to have some type of bionic genital, because that seems to be what we invest in. We're just going to have like high octane, super, not, I think we're going to be past penises and vaginas. We're going to have something completely new. It's just going to be Orgasmatrons 2.0. You could connect wirelessly. It's going to be great.
The title of this episode is Behold the Orgasmatron. For the record, that's where we're at. So
Yeah. So that's the future I'm fighting for. Totally automated luxury coming.
I have a very simple question, though. Very important question. Very simple one. Is it Orgasmotron or Orgasmatron?
I was thinking Orgasmatron.
Like matron. Okay, cool. Orgasmatron. Yeah. Okay, cool. Noted. Okay, please continue.
Because I feel like we're either going to veer off into like transcendence of our shackles and it's going to be great, or another dark age where humanity's going to forget half the shit that they knew, and have to start off from the rubble again, like when they burned the Library of Alexandria.
Well, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the internet. We have the net. Like we are already there. By the way, without the internet, lots of people would have been killed in just utter silence forever. Information would have been lost forever. The internet, like, that's one of the reasons why I don't agree with like the social media cause society's problems, people, because without the net, we would already be in the dark ages. We've already had 4 years that if we did not have the internet, so many people would no longer exist. They would not be dead or alive. They would be gone. Information would have been removed from the internet. Without the internet itself locking arms across several theaters of war, of online war, to at least preserve kind of just the core of several things, and to keep things alive and to draw attention to it and to prevent certain things from being overrun by problematic, dangerous people. So, I mean, we still could get there, but we're in it.
I mean, we get one real bad solar flare and we don't have internet.
Right. Then, you know, the solar flare and the 3 to 6 months without internet, then we are in trouble. I'm not gonna lie to you, we are in trouble.
Like, uh, you get the like a real pissed off orca. Like, we can't let the smart fish figure out that our internet is just a bunch of wires on the ocean floor because they could fuck that shit right up. One ornery octopus too many.
I mean, if
Gone.
again, that's a new problem. Like I always say, I want new problems. Like if we are upended by the oceanic revolt, the great oceanic revolt of 2025, when all the ocean's life comes to life, and what we assumed would come from the robots comes from the bottom of the ocean and assumes control of the land.
The Haitian mermaids have just had enough.
Right. Yes. I'm fine with that. I don't want to die to racism. Like, I don't want to die to the shit that my grandma feared for her life. Like, I don't want these problems to subsist and take my life for multiple generations, 4, 5, 6 generations of Freemans worrying about racism, losing their life to racism. I don't want that. However, the oceanic revolt?
Yeah.
Fine.
I want my death to set a historic
fucking precedent. Yes, if I'm sitting there on the beach and I get gobbled up by a gigantic octopus and the first thrust starts in the fucking Gulf of Mexico, yes! Fucking right! Yes! Do it! Release the fucking Kraken! Yes! Namor, Aquaman, I don't care. I don't care. King Shark, I don't care. I'm fine with that. My goal in life is to not be murdered by the thing that would have killed my great-grandmother. But
so you know, if that uprising happened, like there's gonna be a subset of humans who are like, finally, I get to fuck a really intelligent fish.
Listen, you put your dick
and
in
I
it. You
love that for us.
Right. Listen,
Personally.
if you feel like you got the juice, then live your best life. Again, these are new problems. I just need the new problems. If people are getting lured in by the siren song of the mermaid, and she gives you a few good strokes with a hand job and then rips the top of your body off, great. You did it. You fucking did it. You died to a new problem. You did it.
Yeah.
I'd be proud of that person. I'd be like, you know, that person died a Viking death. 3 strokes and then he's got the top half of his body ripped off. All right. I'd give him a fucking solemn salute from the beach. Never forget Norm. he risked it all.
He died doing what he loved.
Yes, I'm here for that. Please, if the denizens of the ocean can hear us, please do your thing.
Yeah. You had it coming.
But commence the attack. It's fine. Please do not let me get killed by a crazed racist in a Popeyes parking lot. Please.
So I would have to say, I would love to like be a fly on the wall when the fish people take over and you're like at a vegan restaurant and you're like, but why me? I didn't eat you. And they're just like overcome. They're like, but I also eat the kelp.
I thought this would help. No.
I was on your side.
Oh, Jesus. So, yeah.
It's like, as much as I agree with you philosophically, this hurts. The bones, they crush.
I think you ever seen, it's like the show went off the rails, but like landed in the parking lot of a Denny's, so we should just get something to eat.
Yeah.
like fuck it, you know, like we did the thing, it happened, we didn't die.
I feel like it's the end of an Avengers movie where they're eating whatever cuisine they find the funniest at that time.
I mean, if I did, if I had to, I would have my Avengers getting Popeye's chicken sandwiches. And then have one of them vehemently disagree that they're good, and then go and get a chicken sandwich from somewhere else and leave the frame, and that would be it. Like one of them going to get a chicken sandwich from somewhere else that sells chicken sandwiches, because those chicken sandwiches, Popeye's chicken sandwiches, are all hype.
I would love if there was an Avenger end scene with them fighting over who has the best chicken, because I feel like that internationally is gonna be such a heated debate.
Yes.
Because do you know in Korea they have like 7 Popeyes chicken sandwiches? Like we only have 2, regular and spicy. They have 7 flavors of that bitch, and apparently they're all delicious, and we just don't get them here, which I feel robbed and wronged. Like KFC, like that isn't that our shit? Like, how did I grow up in a country where I had to hide eating fried chicken uh, so long, and I don't get all the flavors of fried chicken at the like not KFC, Popeyes, but yeah, they have the Popeyes in South Korea, 7 flavors. Why don't we have sweet chili fried chicken sandwich? That sounds amazing. They have one that's like chili lime crema. That's like Mexican food. Why don't we have? Now I'm getting angry all over again, and I don't even eat chicken anymore.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you. Whatever whatever they're doing is we need more chicken sandwich variety as a culture. And out of all the messages this program has for you, and let us understand that's our platform, is America requires more chicken sandwich variety. Not just
very least, if you're an American company, you give us those flavors first. America doesn't need to be great again, but we do need chicken first. America first in chicken. Have we explored enough this episode?
I feel like we like I said, we went through the academic, the historical, the topical, and again we wound up in the Denny's parking lot. So
yeah. I think you know, we established fuck Nicki Minaj, the Barbs, all of them. We talked about how 4DX is killing the theater sex experience with its perils and dangers. And then we got to talk about Marsha McLuhan and media messaging theory. So I feel like we came, we saw, we demanded chicken from our fish overlords.
That'd be fine. Like, listen, I've always quietly respected ocean as space on Earth anyway. It's just like outer space on Earth anyway. So whatever they need me to do, I'm down. Like, I wasn't out here throwing stuff in the water. I didn't know it was at the bottom. So whatever's at the bottom comes out and is mad. Even if I perish, unfortunately, on the first massive destructive steps of the Kraken in 2023, I at least know that I had a feeling somebody was looking at all that fucking garbage we were throwing in. Somebody saw us, and that's good to know.
Yeah. Like, I'm just saying, fish folk, we're all on our 12th reason up here. So you might get not as much resistance as you might expect. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, you ain't even. Listen, you don't even have to put me in cuffs to throw me in the back of the squad car at this point. Like, just let me know what's going on. Like, you guys are here to do what? To fix whatever. It's fine. If you support Black Lives, then please, you don't even have to put me in the squad car. Just tell me where to sign. Do you need my social security number and a copy of my ID? Like, let me know, where do I report?
I will sell out humanity in a heartbeat.
Oh my God.
I just don't have to deal anymore.
Like, bro, that's the thing. Like, I'm just like, we don't see that enough in like anything where someone, because everyone sells out humanity so that they can survive. But what if you sell out humanity just because you just want like a new corrupt force? Like,
or you just guarantee, it's like, are you just going to end me? Can you do that?
Can you end my cursed existence? Oh, that'd be so dark. That's so dark.
I don't want to do any of the things. Like, I swear to God.
It's just,
can't even.
We did it.
We did it. We're good. You're so good at this. And no, we definitely did not have breakdowns because phones kept ringing and cats kept on going in their fucking crinkle tunnel.
They will never know. So yes, due to the miracle of modern technology, no one will know the hordes of interruptions for an hour and a half long podcast. Scores of interruptions.
Yeah.
So if anything, just yes, that's it.
Yes. So thank you for spending a little more time with me, and I will see you next Tuesday.